Alright guys, what is going on? Skynet here, and we are back with another Dokkan Battle video, and today, as you probably seen by the thumbnail, I'm going to be giving you guys 5 tips on what you can do to grow your account a lot more effectively and a lot quicker too. Now these tips are not meant to be specific to any one player base. These can work if you're a new player just starting out, if you're an old player from way back in the day, if you're someone playing on Global or JP, if you're someone who puts in money on this game, or if you're someone like me who is completely free to play, these tips should help you regardless. Now some of you may already know some of these tips because I don't think there are any real secretive sort of tips here, but that being said, if you are unfamiliar with some of these tips or you just want a quick refresher, hopefully this will provide just that, alright? Now let's get into the first tip. Now the first tip I want to give here is to do link leveling. Now to explain what link leveling is, first of all, let me just show you some links between two separate characters and how they can be different. So the first example I'm going to give you here is LR Int Rose. For me, Int Rose is someone I don't do link leveling on yet, but as you can see, he has level 2 links, level 1 links. And if you look at, for example, Big Bad Boss's here, who's a level 1 link for him, you see the way that it works right now is at level 1, you have HP 80% sort of condition here, so under 80% HP, you can get attack and defense up 25% to his stats. Now this is actually a very strong link for a lot of villains here, so as you can see at level 1, it's pretty nice, you know, under HP of 80%, you can get that link activated. Okay, not too bad, right? But if you look at the level 10 mechanic here, and you see actually at the bottom, it actually explains what it does. Instead of an HP threshold sort of mechanic in the link itself, you can actually get attack and defense 25% up just straight off the bat, doesn't matter what your HP is. And then actually a nice thing about this menu is also shows you a lot of the other units who have big bad bosses, so you can figure out who should I pair up with my Int Rose, for example, and a great option would actually be the Tech Merge Zamasu, so you can kind of figure out who works well with other units in terms of link synergy as a whole. Now again, the thing about link leveling is, it is an arduous process. I will probably do a separate vid on link leveling itself because it is a bit complicated, and for me personally, I will admit, it was something that I was not really interested in initially because I thought it was just a bit of extra work that was unnecessary and I wasn't really into it at the beginning, as you can probably see by Rose there. But that being said, link leveling actually has a lot of value to your account as a whole, and one of the big things obviously is just making your units stronger. So if you're talking about, for example, a prime team that you use, so in my case, for example, and I'm actually going to go ahead and pick Wicked Bloodline here, a prime team that I used back when it came out in Worldwide Celebration 2 years ago is going to be the Frieza team or the Wicked Bloodline team. You see here, for example, STR Final Form Cooler. You see he's completely maxed out Link because I just used him so much. You look at, for example, Metal Cooler, who actually I got recently, so he's a bit lower, obviously 2s and 3s. But even if you're looking at, for example, and I actually mistapped there, whoops. But if you see those sorts of units, they have a lot of boost in their links. If I go into the UR here and I know exactly what I'm looking for, here's the STR Transforming Cooler. He's also at 10s and 9s. These are units that are much stronger now than when I first got them because their links were stronger. And so you can see they get more boost to their stats. Attack 15%. The Big Bad Boss is at 10 there, so he gets the flat attack and defense 25% up instead of just having to get under a certain HP threshold. Link leveling is very important, guys. Don't underestimate it, and definitely don't try to fall behind on it because it is such a long process to get units up to link level 10 on all their links, and it really takes a long time. But just to explain a real quick bit on how link leveling works, I will make, again, another vid on it, but just a quick example here, and I'll actually just go into the fight, but I won't actually do it. You can see here, and actually, I know I'll do 33-3, so 33-3, it has a bit of an extra link level kind of boost there, so hopefully I can pull it. But what you see here is, you go into any stage that has stamina, and it requires stamina to be spent. If you don't spend any stamina, there's no way you can link level any of your units. But if you go into, for example, a stage like this, 25 cost for the super difficulty, and I run through it, and actually I'm just going to let this play through as I talk about it, but because you go into it with the stamina cost, the game is going to have an RNG sort of mechanic into it where it basically does a probability of are you going to level up these links, yes or no. And especially as you get higher and higher on the levels of the links themselves, it's going to be much less likely that will happen. So for example, a level 1 link going to level 2 is going to be more likely to happen than a level 9 to a level 10 link, which again explains why it's such a long process and why a lot of people you'll see on YouTube and whatnot making vids on guides on how to do link leveling, they will explain they spend hours just trying to get link level 10s. And you see right there, I got level 5 for Nappa, I got level 6 for Raditz there, another level 5 for Kaioken Goku. So link leveling, it does take stamina, it does take a bit of time. It is basically kind of just stamina dependent. You have to put a lot of stamina into it, you have to put a lot of time into it. It is very auto heavy. You see a lot of people just put on auto and run through it. But link leveling is so important, and actually I'm going to explain another reason why it's so important in the second tip here. Now the second tip here is to boost your power level. And I talked to the first tip about how link leveling has a lot of benefits. Well, boosting your power level is important, and link leveling has a very big part to play in that. So as you can see here, this is the power level I have, so 496,000 at the current point when I'm recording this. So there's actually 4 main ways to boost your power level. The first one here is how many hidden potential nodes you unlock, so 98,000 of hidden potential nodes. The second one, and this is relating to link leveling here, is how many links you have at the maximum level, which is a 10. So how many links do you have at link level 10? In my case, I have 196 total. Those boost your power level as a whole. The third one is just how many stages you've cleared. So in my case, I've cleared 2,900 of them. And then the last one is how many characters you have Dokkan awakened. So in my case, again, 380 there. These 4 little bits of data on your account actually determine how high your power level can be. And the power level has a couple nice benefits to it. One, which is a more of a personal thing, is you can kind of flex to your friends like, hey, I got this high power level, check me out. And it does kind of represent how much effort you put into the game. Obviously, clearing stages takes energy, takes time. Dokkan awakening characters takes energy, takes time, takes beating events multiple times. Link leveling takes a lot of time. Having to get all the hidden potential orbs to unlock nodes and whatnot and pull a lot of units so you can get all the maximum, get all the nodes unlocked, I should say, and all the extra dupes in. Those are all things that take time, right? So this is definitely one of those things that you can't just start day one and get a high power level. It takes a lot of investment. But the reason why it's so important, and I'll go here, is that actually there's free bonuses that come with how high your power level is. So an example here would be the support item one. That's actually what I'm currently farming. So right now you see I'm at, again, 496,000. If you tap here, for example, you'll see how many more boosts I have to the support item drop rate. But you see here right now what I have is a boost of 48% to support item drops. And if I go basically increase my power level to 500,000, which is not even that far away from me, obviously, it's about, I think, 4,000. So if I get up to 500,000, instead of 48%, it increases to 50%. And there's bonuses like that for all sorts of things. Obviously, training items right here, Zenny right up there at the top, hidden potential orbs we were just talking about in terms of being something that boosts your power level. Baba Shop costs being decreased, the recovery of your stamina will be faster as well. You can get bonus attempts on certain challenges and whatnot, so there's a lot of reasons to boost your power level, and it's something that I think a lot of people, including myself, again, also just don't necessarily have the greatest familiarity with, but it is something that you really want to make sure to try your best to understand, and something that you really want to put effort into growing, because it can benefit you as you're trying to grow your account faster and faster, obviously giving you more resources as you're putting in the work and trying to grow your account. Now, a third tip I have here is to start farming free-to-play units and teams. You may have already been doing so, but if you haven't, you need to start doing it. Dokkan gives a lot of content just for its players, no charge whatsoever, and it's all sorts of things like story events, challenges, etc., etc. And these things can give you Dragon Stones, they can give you some nice resources like potential orbs or Zenny or special sorts of support items and etc. whatnot. But one thing that they also give, which is really, really important, is units. Free units that you don't have to spend any Dragon Stones on pulling. You don't have to put any sort of money physically into the game to actually unlock these characters. You just have to play the game. And so an example here in 2 teams I'm actually going to talk about, which a lot of people talk about when they say, oh, you have to farm these free-to-play units, is going to be right here is the Team Bardock team and the Ginyu Force team. Now these 2 teams, especially for early on, they're not the best teams at the end of the game, but early on they can get you to quite a bit of progress in the game as far as story mode is concerned, as far as certain events and whatnot are concerned, so you really want to take advantage of this. Obviously, if you look at the Ginyu Force event and how it's broken down, you have 6 stages in total, but the first 5, each one is dedicated to one of the specific members of the team, and the same way works for the Team Bardock event that you saw earlier. If you take advantage of things like this, and these are not the only 2 sets of teams, obviously there's a bunch of other units that I unfortunately just can't show you because it would take too long, but if you take advantage of farming these sorts of free units, you can actually build out your account, you can actually diversify it, and it will help you because you may be having access to more missions then all of a sudden, certain missions that require Ginyu Force team or Team Bardock. You may be able to progress much further in the story mode early on in your gameplay, in your account's lifespan, I guess if you want to call it that. You have a chance basically to grow your account just by playing the game. And it's just, all it takes is just a bit of time and a bit of effort and a bit of recognition on what you have to put your effort into. So tip 3, obviously, again, definitely make sure to farm these free units and free teams. Dokkan is giving us these presents, basically these opportunities for free. Why not take advantage of it, guys? Now the 4th tip I have here is to take advantage of big celebrations. Dokkan has several big celebrations that go throughout the year, and if I'm speaking on the JP side, which is where most of my experience is, the first celebration we have is obviously the 9th anniversary, which happened several months ago, followed by Right Now, which is the same day celebration. Both Global and JP are celebrating that, and then following that will be Golden Week, which happens I believe in May, end of May-ish or so, and then Tanabata, which will happen end of June to July, and then we have Worldwide Celebration from August to September. Now these are the 5 big celebrations in my opinion, and in between there are nice campaigns and nice Dokkan Fests and LR characters that are released. But these 5 celebrations are really important in my opinion, especially if you're trying to build your account very effectively, because what happens is in these celebrations, first of all, Dokkan is releasing the premier units. So if we're talking about last 9th anniversary, we were given basically Gogeta and Broly for the first part of the anniversary, followed by Beast Gohan and Gamma 1 and 2. Now, Beast Gohan alone is just such a hype unit. We were, as a player base, waiting for that unit for several years, but anniversaries themselves are very hype units. Obviously, if you're looking at the same day campaign right now, we have a Tech Big Bang Attack Vegeta, which a lot of people, myself included, have been clamoring for and basically asking Dokkan, please give us a Dokkan Fest of this unit. He's so cool and we really want him. If we're talking about last year's worldwide celebration, their units themselves were pretty premier. Obviously, you're talking about the Goku and Vegeta Blue, or Goku Blue and Vegeta Blue, who fuse into Vegito Blue, I mean to say. And then you have Merge Zamasu, followed by Sword of Hope Trunks and Future Gohan. A lot of really premier units are released in these campaigns, along with the fact that in these campaigns, the devs are giving us a lot of rewards. They're giving us Dragon Stones, they're giving us a lot of potential orbs, maybe Elder Kais or Zenny, or a lot of different things that you need to build your account. And they're also giving you new events so you can get more Dragon Stones, get more resources on your side of the gameplay. And then also on top of that, the banners that they put these premier units on are some of the best banners in the entirety of the year. So if we're looking at the same day one, and unfortunately I don't have the previous Dokkan Fest Frieza banner as a way to compare the two, but if you're looking at this banner on its own, you obviously have the new tech Dokkan Fest Vegeta, you have his banner unit in King Vegeta, but you also have the Tanabata Goku from last year, you have God Goku from last year's Saiyan Day, and you have the Majin Vegeta from 2 Saiyan Days ago, so basically 2 years ago. Now these are all units that are pretty good, and they actually are able to fit in quite a few categories and lead some teams here. And so these sorts of campaigns have great banners where if you're trying to start and build your account and kind of diversify, then you can take advantage of these banners to pull a lot of the units that you probably want to pull anyways, but also you can make the best use of your stones, because say if I'm trying to spend 50 stones right now, if I don't pull the Vegeta, well at least I have a chance to pull Tanabata Goku, or I have a chance to pull God Goku or Majin Vegeta. That's the sort of thing you want to do with these big celebrations. Now, I will say, just because this tip is focused on how to take advantage of celebrations, a main point I talked about was just using your stones for summoning on these banners. If you're someone who wants to summon for a specific character, like for example, the previous Dokkan Fest, which was a Dokkan Fest AGL Frieza, the first form Frieza, the Destroy the Saiyan Planet Vegeta and whatnot, and the whole Supernova and whatnot. If you're someone who wants to summon for a unit like that, by all means go for it, right? At the end of the day, it's a gacha game. It's about pulling the units you want to pull. It's about playing the game you want to play. And it's about having fun, right? There is no PvP aspect to this. You're obviously not going to play other players. It's obviously only mainly PvE. So you really want to just have fun first and foremost. Now, if you're trying to focus on having fun while also pulling a lot of great, cool units, while also trying to build your account in the most powerful way possible quickly, and all these things are like the big focuses you have, then a great way to take advantage of these sorts of goals you have, or rather a great way to make sure these goals all kind of succeed effectively, is to go for big celebrations and take advantage of the opportunities that Dokkan gives through banners, through the rewards and all that. Now the 5th tip I have here is to build your teams effectively. Now this, at first glance, may be a bit of a kind of complicated advice here. The thing about starting off in Dokkan is you're not necessarily going to be able to get all the great units from one team or 2 teams. But let me just give you an example here. So one premier team that I use right now, one that's really strong, is the Beast Gohan led superhero category team. So as you see here, I'm actually holding on the bottom here. This is Beast Gohan's leader skill. So several units, or not several, but many units have leader skills. And so like if, for example, I go into the Evo-Ken or the Kaioken Blue Goku and the Evolved Vegeta, they lead joined forces, and I believe it's all-out struggle is the first category. So they lead 2 specific categories. And then if we go, for example, into actually that's the wrong unit I want to go there, but if we go, for example, back to Beast Gohan, actually, he leads 3 categories for the first part of his kit, which is Superhero here, followed by Bond of Master and Disciple, and then Miraculous Awakening. And then you see those 3 categories. If you're just in those categories and he's the leader, then he's giving all those units 170% to their stats, along with 3 key. And then obviously he has a little caveat here at the bottom, so you see movie heroes, and I forget what the last one is, so I'm gonna have to double check real quick. But those 2 extra kind of categories, if the characters fall into that as well, then they also get an additional 30% on top of the 170 that they already have. And so you're talking about trying to build teams, you want to make sure to build teams that fall under the leader skills of the characters you're trying to use. If you're a new player, this can be very tricky. For example, if I'm just kind of putting together a team that if I were just like new and I just don't have a lot of options, I may be going in saying, you know what, I think Super Boo is really cool, let me put him there. You know, I got this Orange Piccolo, I heard he's pretty good, let me put him in there too. You know what, Janemba, I love Fusion Reborn, let me get Janemba in there. Cooler, oh my god, the GOAT, you know. And you know what, I love Super Saiyan Gohan back in Cell Saga, he was just my favorite character back then, you know, if I like him. And if I'm going, for example, you know, I'm like, oh, let me just look here, let me just look through my options here. And you know what, let me go ahead and get Kefla just for, you know, reasons. So if I get a team like this, you may be looking, oh, well, these are all really cool units I have and I would love to play with them. The problem is they don't necessarily fit together well. So if we're looking at Super Boo here, he leads Majin Buu Saga, that's the first part here, is Majin Buu Saga, and then the second part is Heavenly Events. Now Heavenly Events, you see this is the category right here, so if I type Heavenly Events as the category, you see all the units that fit under it. And yeah, so like for example, AGL Gohan actually happens to fit in that category. But also, what about Orange Piccolo? Well, Orange Piccolo, or Piccolo Awakened if you want to call him that, because that's what his present form is, he doesn't fit either of these categories, so he is not benefiting from Super Boo's leader skill. If we're talking about, for example, Kefla, or we're talking about Janemba or Cooler, these three do not even fit under the Super Boo leader skill, so they would not be getting any benefits whatsoever to being on this team the way it's currently constructed. You really have to think about, how do I build a team that maximizes the units that I have? And it's a bit tricky at first, don't get me wrong, you're going to be struggling because you want to use all your cool units, and you're going to want to try to build units and teams rather of units that you really like. But you really do kind of have to discipline yourself in the sense of building out teams that have synergy, that have the ability to fall under the leader skill you're trying to use, and that overall have the ability to make a successful run in any sort of event you're trying to do. Now, this is a work in progress sort of thing. It's going to take effort, it's going to take time, you're going to have to put in a bit of time and obviously do some work to get great units and use them and put a team together. But I definitely promise you guys this, especially if you're new. Starting off is going to be difficult, but as you work towards it, you will get better and better at constructing really elite teams. And obviously, the way Dokkan works, they're going to be banners returning with some of these premier units. You're going to have a chance to pull them, and when you do pull them, you're going to be able to expand your roster. You're going to be able to use new teams that maybe you didn't have access to before. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit the like button down below, subscribe for more content like this in the future, and comment down below which of these tips has been really helpful for you. I would love to hear your guys' feedback. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you all in the next one.